Good day, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Cornish-Knight, and this is a post-commentary review for Barony with me and my usual co-star, Defoax. Now, this time around we decided to mix things up a bit by selecting random characters. Defoax went with a wanderer, and I went with a wizard, which is a class I have not played before. We are playing with Hunger, the Minotaur and Trapson, so this would be very interesting. Now, the Wander character is a bit more balanced character. They're not particularly strong, at the same time they're not particularly weak, so they're a relatively good medium character. Now, you can see the wizard is predominantly range combat. He doesn't start with any charm, or he starts with minus charm and minus dexterity, so he's pretty much a purely ranged character. Now you can just see me here, we were just doing a bit of background checking with ping tests and stuff, because obviously Defoax is in America and I am in good old Cornwall in Great Britain. And last time that we played together, his ping was like, he was hosting and I was playing, and his ping, well, my ping I should say, was like 440 and his is only 200, so it seems that it's better for me to host and for him to join than it is the other way around. Now, as always, standard rules apply. We will keep on going to play until we both died. It's going to be interesting. I haven't played I almost killed Defoax here by accident. I'm not used to using the fire spell, and it's been a little bit of time since I last played, so out we go. Now, first thing happens is the skeleton pops out of nowhere. Luckily I have the fireball spell, which is not too bad, but you get these starts literally when you just turn up and just die outright. It happens quite a lot, I find. I don't know why, but the benefit of having a wizard is that you can have quite high intelligence, which means your appraisal skill is really good. So it meant that I actually felt like I was helping quite a bit, because normally I play a primary damage dealer like an arcanist or a knight, and it means that the Defoax ends up doing a lot of the heavy lifting. Yeah, just at this point I was thinking, should I go after the skeleton with my remaining mana pool, or should we try and take on the skeletons? The thing is that it's like a risky sort of manoeuvre that you want to try and kill the skeletons with the booby trap and then open it, but the problem is you don't know which switch does which, because they always randomised, so it's sort of like a 50-50 pot luck. Sorry, just taking a sip of my water. I think eventually we decided to go back to the room, but for right now we just continue to explore. We're sort of a bit low on equipment, and I'm desperately trying to identify items and just sort of be useful and help out the Defoax, because neither of us are actually wearing any armour. That was a nice chest actually, we got some relatively good things out of it. Got a can opener, which is really useful, and lockpick. Personally I don't mind the rats in this game, they're quite useful, they drop a lot of meat. We both take quite a bit of damage here and I'm bleeding all over the place. One of the few problems with this class is the fact that because you lack any sort of hand-to-hand ability, you really die easily, so what I should have probably done was run away rather than stood there and fought. If I'd taken a bad roll I would have probably died straight out, which is not a good thing. So yeah, I decided I was going to try and identify some of this stuff and hopefully get lucky and get my level up. It's one of these hit and misses. You sort of have to try and gauge what to appraise, because obviously if you try and appraise items which are too high level, you waste time, and if you appraise items which are too low level, they're normally not really worth it. So food is not too bad. Food is a very good thing to get your appraisal level up on if anybody's interested. Yeah, not going down those tunnels. I have really bad experience going down narrow holes. They tend to be my bane in this game. You end up going down a narrow tunnel and literally you get just jumped by something. So unfortunately we didn't have much luck. Most of the starting items we found was relatively rubbish, which is bit disappointing, but that's not too bad. I mean, that's what Barony is sort of about. You sort of have to weigh your options, really, especially in the early game where everything is really heavily dependent on what items you find. Yeah, every time he goes into one of these rooms I just have flashbacks to us getting crushed by boulders. It's horrible. We didn't actually get that much cursed stuff in this particular playthrough, which was rather nice. I mean, we got some really weird stuff. I mean, we found some, I found a +2 blessed necklace of strangulation, which was a bit odd. So like it was blessed you while strangling you to death at the same time, which is not nice. I forget that it's a can opener and not a key. I think it's a lockpick for a second. Ah wait, it's a can opener. God, that scared me at the time. It was like literally, if he'd taken one step backwards, the Fuax would have got killed by a boulder, and it was like, ugh. Never a good thing at low level. You don't want to die too often at low levels because it affects how much you can level up. So, on top of things, I'm getting through playing, sort of fighting it. I believe I'm near the end of the final station, which is always just turned out to be a nice little game. Just appraising some more stuff. Yeah, I'm enjoying the gameplay in it quite a lot. Unfortunately, I have mentioned I find this sort of juggling mechanic with the train and like the lore sections a bit annoying, because you can't hear all the lore when you're trying to micromanage the train, which is a bit unfortunate. Just sort of getting some equipment in place and changing stuff over with the Fuax. Just sort of your standard sort of ploy for the first floor. You want to loot everything if possible. Now, how did I find the mage class? I haven't played a mage class before. There are some things that obviously you can't do. I mean, for example, the mage seems to be limited to the fact that he can't wear armour at all, so that's one thing to take into consideration. You take a lot of damage quite easily. That was good. Those two items were quite useful actually later on. Just wanted to see if the axe was any good, because I wanted a better weapon than the quarterstaff. Just doing the usual, telling my partner that I'm checking items. A serviceable axe, which is a nice axe. It's better than my quarterstaff, so I equip it. Yeah, I mean, this was actually turned into a relatively good run, really. I was rather pleased with it myself. I mean, the first time ever playing as a mage class, didn't quite know what to expect. I should have probably applied for gloves as dexterity, but you tend to like miss these things in the heat of the moment. But as usual, always plagues me in this game is food. I don't know if the Fuax has more luck finding it than I do, but I end up having to keep on asking him for it, which I always find a bit frustrating. I'm rocking a very funny appearance at the moment. A cross between sort of a mad axeman and a wizard school reject by the apparent look of it. Maybe if a barbarian went and became a mage, that's probably the look I'm rocking. Not that I'm complaining, I look awesome, but could be better. So we sort of get through the first level. We don't have really any problems. I think by this point we sort of decided that we're just going to head down to the next floor. There's sort of like an optimum time you want to stay on floors in my experience. You don't want to spend too long, because obviously you end up using too much food. And here we have really bad luck, literally the minotaur turns up. Luckily we have some companions, but yeah, we were literally just desperately trying to find the exit by this point. We find it straight away, which is rather good. Now, this is always kind of the debate that you want to have, is do you want to go straight down and not risk running into the minotaur at all, or do you want to risk it and just try and get some loot? We sort of talk it over, and the Fuax basically says, look, do you want to try getting some loot and killing the zombies and stuff, because we might get some stuff out of it. And here the music triggers and I thought, oh no, skeletons, something's coming. but it just turns out it's like a normal mob monster. I thought it was like a zombie coming out of the grave or something, but it wasn't. Zombies at this level are no joke. Managed to take down the succubus, which is a nice level up for us. Yeah, in this game, because you backpedal at like quarter your normal speed, it's normally better just to basically leg it rather than actually staying and fighting. So I believe we're both about level 2 at this point, which is not too bad for this section of the game. You want to try and like mid-max your leveling as much as possible, because obviously the higher you are, the more likely you are to survive the encounter with the final boss. Never got around to using the mirror. I always wondered what they'd do. The last one I had teleported me into the middle of absolute nowhere, and I got murdered by gnomes and demons, which are not particularly a fantastic combination. Yeah, one of the things that I have learned in this is that you want to try and manage your overcharge. I sort of screw it up there, which is unfortunate, but just I find normally swinging at them, unless you've got a really powerful weapon, is pointless. It's better just to overcharge and hope for a critical hit. I found it rather enjoyable to play the mage actually, because I'd been, as I said, normally playing the knight or the arcanist, because that's how I used to play D&D, which is sort of play sort of like a primary damage dealer. But in this, it's nice to be able to actually to help out identifying items. Because normally at this point in the game I'm just literally spamming identifying cheese or food. I mean, normally you can play the knight character and you can spend like 3 levels just failing to identify cheese, which is really frustrating. It's like, failed to identify cheese, and you're thinking, God, how stupid is my character that he can't identify what a piece of cheese is. I take a risk here and go for the cream pie, hoping it's going to be good, because they are quite useful cream pies. Basically, they're one of the 3 most high hunger-filling items in the game, besides bread and meat, I believe. I mean, you do get fish as well, but I don't find fish that often. This is a nice little sort of general store so early on. It's a really lucky find. Get a skeleton key, which is a really good find as well. Though as always, you want to basically appraise everything you find, because you can get a really good item that can have a curse that makes you go blind, or just generally horrible things you don't want happening. So at this point I'm basically informed that we've got a general trader, which is great because we can sell most of the stuff. In hindsight, I should have probably sold the gems and everything, because obviously the likelihood of coming across another general trader was rather low, and I could have probably bought a spell book, but I couldn't appraise it, so you don't get as much money for it, which is a bit of a shame. This is the interesting thing. As I went up, I found that I couldn't actually wear armor. I don't know why. I got to a point in the game and it basically said that then the armor is not equipable or something like that. So I don't know what that was going on about. I just assumed, because I was a mage, that the game was saying, look, you can't wear armor. Or maybe the armor had like a strength requirement and I didn't realise it, or a constitution requirement. That might have been it. But never know. So generally, Dufuax, this is one of Dufuax's typical patterns, is that he opens up all like the mob rooms, or like these little rooms which can contain treasure or monsters, just to get extra XP. I'm always a bit wary of them myself. I don't like going near them. But he's a much more aggressive player than I am in some respects. I tend to be quite cautious, partly just because I don't like dying as much. Couldn't get this guy to recruit, unfortunately. Now I'm just sort of like running off looking for places, and this is the thing that I find annoying. You get a piece of food which isn't cursed, and it still gives you food poisoning, because obviously it's mouldy. It's like, well, it's a piece of cheese. Pieces of cheese are supposed to be mouldy. Can't I just cut the mould off? Yeah, the darkness in this game is like just absolutely brutal. Even with light spells, you're like walking around half the time expecting something to come leering out of you. It's like a bad 80s horror film. But this is very much like old-fashioned D&D. It was sort of like everywhere you went you were super careful, checking every room, checking every door for traps. I like it. I do like this game. Graphic-wise, it is very 8-bit, but it is a fun game to play. And I get 2 mouldy cream pies, and it's like, hopefully they'll be beneficial for me. It's like, nope, just mouldy cream pie. It's like, great. So I've got literally no food at all. And just decided to try and appraise some equipment because I'm feeling a bit bad about the Fuax at this point, thinking, maybe I should. Because he's always appraising stuff and giving it to me, but so maybe I should appraise some stuff and give it to him in return, since I can appraise a lot quicker than he can at the moment, because he's playing a more balanced character class this time around. Basically, the boots were boots of levitation, which are really useful. Unfortunately, the NPC took them, which really annoys me, because the NPCs always take better equipment than what they've got on, so you have to make sure that the NPC isn't close by when you drop gear, otherwise you lose it. Which is a bit annoying, because obviously you want to give it to your companion rather than the NPCs, because the NPCs are rather expendable. I critical hit the rat, which was nice. Now, around this point we sort of decided that we'd sort of explore a bit more and go down to the next floor. I was a bit frustrated there actually. It was like literally, I'm like a really good spellcaster, and it took me like 6 attempts to load up on a light spell. It's like, really? Fortunately the light spells take like 1 mana, which isn't too bad, so you can spam them quite a lot. And the Fuax rocking his single-handed crossbow and torch combination, which is a very powerful combination for rogue classes. And by this point we should decide to go down to the next level. This is pretty much where the video ends. If you have liked, please press the like button. If you wish to subscribe, please press the subscription button. You can leave comments in the section below. I'm always happy to oblige, and you can follow me on Facebook and Twitter. Another episode will put up sometime today, so stay tuned, folks.